surprised to hear that the young ones
Lord
don't
Shu Huang occasionally
hard
comes
to stay motivated. Lord Li Dian may be friendly and approachable.
Have you heard? They say there's a dragon living up in the mountains of Jing province.
Surprise quiz time! Lord Zhang Fei.
Hey, Lord Guan Yu! Training up?
Yes. And from the looks of it, you've been doing likewise.
Yes, sir. Lord Chuga Liang said that Cao Cao is going to be marching on us with a huge army. So I figured I would do what I can while I can. Just finished up helping carry some supplies.
Well, that is a good start. Lord Cao Cao appears intent on getting rid of Liu Bei and bringing Jin province under his own control. And we cannot let that happen. Zhou Tang, spar with me for a round.
Oh, seriously? Absolutely! How could I say no to a request like that from you?
Easy to lose your way in the mountains of Xinye.
Have you seen Lord Zhao Yun wield a spear?
That Cao Cao. I made it.
All of you, follow me! Let's march!
What a nuisance. I shall deal with it. The enemy officer has been defeated. Whoa. Looking rough. This territory is ours. Let's go.
Let's give it to them!
Looking rough. Let's go.
Amazing! You are swift
The
and
enemy
deadly
officer
warrior.
has been defeated.
There we go!
Easy.
Looking rough. This appears to be as far as we go. With all my might.
Halt! Let us observe.
Can't believe this. The enemy officer has been defeated.
We will take the enemy by surprise and break their ranks. Charge! Let's provide our support too.
Your aid is truly welcome. And I reckon we are all in your debt now.
Looking rough. Our allies are doing well. Keep going. The enemy officer has been defeated. Looking rough.
Come on, what are you waiting for? Let's get this fight started! Situation!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Never use my power! Situation!
The enemy officer has been defeated. Whoa.
Liu Bei and his sworn brothers fight any fearsome force that faces them. I can't wait to meet them.
I hear Lord Liu Bei refused Lord Liu Biao's offer of ruling Jing province. I still cannot say what the best option would have been. Would it not have been better if Lord Liu Bei had ruled Jing, if only temporarily, to gather everyone to fight against Cao Cao? With a massive army advancing toward us, would that not have been the best option? I cannot see Lord Liu Song being up for a fight. I had a feeling you may be thinking the same thing. Still, I am also somewhat glad that things have gone this way. Lord Liu Bei is a man who brings honor to these lands. That is why so many are willing to follow him. For me, it was witnessing how he risks his life to see justice done that won my loyalty. If he had changed his ways and taken Jing from Lord Liu Song, perhaps his followers would have deserted him. Such a choice could have ruined all that he's built up over the years. But whatever the case, it is our duty as his retainers to keep him safe. No matter how formidable our adversary, we'll show no fear.
Shishu, why are you here?
Lord Liu Bei.
You have come to call for our surrender, have you not? As a messenger of Cao Cao?
I see you have not changed, Zhuge Liang. You see through it all, even without a word. Lord Liu Cong has already surrendered to Cao Cao's forces. He supposedly promised that he would hand you over.
No.
No matter how great of a strategy Zhuge Liang puts into motion, the moment Lord Liu Cong switched his alliance, you lost. And while this may be unexpected coming from your enemy's messenger, Lord Liu Bei, I beg of you, you must escape. You will have more opportunities as long as you stay alive.
Shishu is correct, my lord. Although, that is not to say it is impossible to defend Xinye while fending off Cao Cao's army.
You're saying there's a way?
Indeed. We can use the people of Xinye as decoys to lure the enemy forces into the castle. There, we crush them.
That will not do. By employing such tactics, we would be robbing the people of Xinye of the ability to decide their own fates.
Which is why I said that Shishu is correct. Quickly abandoning the castle and running is probably our best option.
Right. Okay. Let's do that. I appreciate your warning, Shishu. We can now hope to live to fight another day.
You are too kind. Though I may not be able to leave Cao Cao's service, I wish to be with you in spirit. And that is why I will not provide strategies to him. Not now or ever. I might not be able to advise you directly, but there must be other ways in which I can help.
No. Any subterfuge of that kind would only be a detriment. Instead, would you be willing to help us plan our next move?
You want me to help you plan?
Abandoning the castle is one thing, but getting away safely is another, and requires us to prepare some sort of strategy. And, with your wisdom, I am certain that we can make that strategy even better. There is no need to worry. If you make but a small contribution, Cao Cao will not notice.
You really haven't changed, have you? Fine. A small contribution it shall be. I trust you shall utilize it to aid Lord Liu Bei's cause.
Surprise quiz time! Lord Zhang Fei.
to stay motivated as tired as we are.
Lord Li Dian may be friendly and approachable.
Easy to lose your way in the mountains of Xingye, so never go out at night.
I'm all prepared and ready to go. I think I'm getting used to abandoning castles and running away.
I am sorry. My stubbornness just keeps causing more trouble.
You need not worry, brother. All we need to do is survive. Just like we've always done.
Right. We will protect you and your family with every bit of our strength.
I suppose I can't afford to waver now. Especially with my brothers cheering me up. All right. Let's go. We are all going to survive this.
My lord! My lord! I'm grateful to see you. Some of the peasants here escaped from Cao Cao's invading forces. Others barred from their castle since Governor Liu Song's surrender. They've endured much difficulty. They've nowhere else to turn. We humbly ask for your guidance.
Bringing them along would inevitably slow our march's pace. Just advise them to avoid any rash acts. Cao Cao's forces are unlikely to raise a hand to peasants who have shown no resistance.
Zhuge Liang. The Longzong plan required the acquisition of Jing province.
Huh. My lord?
And now, I have taken Jing province. It would be truly strange to suggest relinquishing it now.
My apologies. Indeed, a kingdom is more than land. It is those who call it home who are truly vital. And you have indeed taken Jing province. So, let us combine our abilities to overcome hardship and discover the way forward. To your kingdom, Lord Liu Bei.
Forgive me, everyone. I wish for them to accompany us. That is my desire.
Our advance is far too slow. We need to put some distance between us and Cao Cao's forces, but at this rate, they'll catch up to us. The cause is fairly obvious.
I cannot just leave those who came to me seeking help.
Yes, I understand that. And it is my job to do something about our current predicament.
Well said.
I will now head to Jiangxia. The governor there, Lord Liu Qi, owes me a favor. We may be able to ask him for protection.
A favor, eh? Just what kind of scheme did you pull?
Oh. It was nothing, really. Lord Guan Yu, I would like you to accompany me to Jiangxia. We will borrow his troops, then return to escort Lord Liu Bei.
Very well. Zhao Fei, Zhao Yun, take care of Liu Bei until I return.
Of course.
With my life.
Thank you. All of you. My life is in your hands.
There you are, Zuluan. I see you are still with Liu Bei, assisting him in his struggle to stop Cao Cao. That is good. But what is going on? What is Liu Bei trying to do by taking this many commoners with him as he flees? What? Do you mean that he would risk the lives of the people for something so abstract? Whatever his reason is, this will most likely end in a great deal of casualties. Why will he not run and leave the people behind? Even Cao Cao would not attack commoners who are away from their lord. And why would they not try to leave Liu Bei? This many individuals displaying such loyalty to one man at the risk of their own lives? That is absurd. I had only thought of Liu Bei as a simple tool, but... What? Spreading his beliefs and dragging his people into war. Huh. I suppose that is befitting of what people usually call a hero. And as with all so-called heroes, wherever Liu Bei goes, destruction and violence follow. No matter the words they use to glorify their cause, in the end, each of them sacrifices people for their goals. And judging from how dire this current situation is, perhaps he is even more dangerous than Cao Cao. I see Cao Cao's army has caught up. So, what will Liu Bei do now? Cling on to his conviction, accept the casualties, and continue on? I shall watch carefully.
Shall we start? I'm grateful.
Time for Cheng Fei of Yan to make an appearance!
I'm counting on you.
What the? Who is that? Zhang Fei. That's Zhang Fei.
Do not fear. That may be Zhang Fei, but he is alone. We can take him together.
Huh. Pathetic. There better be tens of thousands of you, because a bunch of foot soldiers like you are no match for me. Now, which one of you wants to die first? I'll take you all on at once! There you are! How about we have a little fun here? Here we go! No one is getting across this bridge! don't think you're getting through. Pulverize anyone who tries. You hear me?
You can stop us with so few warriors?
What an insult. Take them down. Then bring it on. I'll take you all on at once. Stop where you are. Going anywhere. I'll make sure you fall by my sword.
We have no time to waste on the likes of you. Out of our way!
There's still many left on the other side of the bridge. Now, let us wait here and have faith that they will reach us.
An opening! Take this! Take this!
Oh my God! Good eye!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Hero without equal.
A true army of one. So that's who Zhang Fei is.
Is that all? Come on! Who's next?
The dragon, burning with fury. All my men will rip apart any who dare to get in my
The enemy
way!
officer has been defeated.
My blade was cutting nothing but air. A truly formidable foe. Damn! They got past us! Gotta take care of them or Liu Bei and the others will be in danger.
Take the advance. All units, march! Time to act. Looking rough. This is tough.
No matter how you slice it.
Take this.
Putting on a front to protect your allies is commendable. But you really should give up.
The enemy officer.
Do not underestimate the tenacity of Liu Bei's forces. Show them no mercy and hunt them down. Take you all out! Take you all out! You're mine! You're finished. I'll take you all out!
Made it. Lord Liu Bei? You waited for us!
It is good to see you safe. It is difficult, I know. But hang on a little while longer.
Okay, that it? Get started. You're finished. I'll kill you! I'm counting on you.
So that's Zhao Yun.
Tables turn.
I'm glad I positioned reinforcements here. Because that man is a whirlwind.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
The road ahead is thorny, but walk it we shall.
Behold my an officer? You must be kidding!
So, this is everyone then. It seems not all were able to escape unscathed.
That's an officer? You must be kidding!
We must move on for now.
Where did I go wrong? Things don't look too good.
I see it. Concentrate.
Oh my stalemate! We need to work
The
harder.
enemy officer has been defeated.
Another obstacle in the path of justice is falling before me!
Thank you for coming. Sense the bond between us.
The enemy officer has been defeated. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Really? What just happened? That it?
Oh my, not done yet!
enemy officer
I still need
has
it.
been defeated.
That means I must fall back for now. All right! Taking care of those trying to cross the bridge. Take this! But Chow Yun's
The
still
enemy
in the
officer
back.
has been
Maybe
defeated.
we should keep this place defended.
No need to overextend ourselves. Let's leave the rest to our reserves.
We've succeeded in cutting Liu Bei off. It seems our vanguard has stopped them in their tracks.
Bring them down.
So Liu Bei intends to continue down this path. It is a road
The enemy
that
officer
can be traveled
has been
while
defeated.
sacrificing people along the way.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Lord Liu Bei, I have returned with your son. He is safe and unharmed.
Xiao Yun! Good to see you back in one piece. You ran through hell for Otto. You have my eternal gratitude.
The battle is more or less going as expected. We should make our way to Lord Liu Bei.
Counting on you. I see it. Bear witness to my power.
I'm not going to like the outcome of this encounter.
Invested.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
I'll take you all out!
All my might.
Liu Bei must not be allowed to escape.
All forces are to pursue him with every man available.
Start the advance!
Opening. All my might. Turn the table. Concentrate. And open.
Zhuge Liang, you've made it. Discussions in Jiangxia went well, I take it?
All my might. The enemy officer
Without
has
issue.
been defeated.
Lord Guan Yu should arrive in due time with reinforcements. I will now prepare for Cao Cao's main force. Once we rout their officers, we could start putting our plans into place.
We've fended off their officers and will begin preparations as instructed by Lord Zhuge Liang.
The enemy officer
I shall
has
analyze
been
later.
defeated.
For now, I must go back.
Yet all of them continue to follow him. The officers, the soldiers, and the citizens alike. All entrusting their lives to a single man. This battle almost defies belief. Is Liu Bei the true danger? Or is it Cao Cao? I must ascertain this for myself.
Just so!
Plan worked. Let's wipe them out while they're confused.
Now, take rain arrows upon them!
I want them. The enemy officer has been defeated. Let's go.
What's going on?
An attack?
You're incredible, you know that? Keep doing what you do!
An excellent display of skill. We shall fight again.
We must hold the line.
Zhuge Liang has done it yet again. Now they'll be forced to take another route. We'll have more time.
My lord, there is something you should know about the mountain pass Cao Cao's forces are taking. There is actually a second route near the pass. I thought it might be of some use.
Turn the table. Bear witness to my power.
Oh my God!
I can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
I am Lord Cao Cao's blade. I shall end you here and now, Liu Bei.
Looking rough.
I am ready.
Oh my God!
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
There we go. Let's get serious.
An opening. The enemy officer has been defeated.
I'll take you all out!
An opening. Concentrate.
An opening.
An opening. Oh my power!
Take this! Take this! Take this!
An opening.
How about this?
Tables turned.
Looking rough.
Now!
No bear witness to my power.
Let's end this.
To lose to the likes of you.
The enemy officer has
I
been
shall
defeated.
pull back for now. However, we shall meet in battle again.
All my might.
Invested.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Another obstacle in the path of justice has fallen before me. Cut you off. You're not going any further.
We've managed to cut you off. Now we'll make you realize you can't run any longer.
Let's go.
I will not allow you to block our path.
We will break through.
We've rid ourselves of those troublemakers. Now, we can start preparations in earnest.
The road ahead is thorny, but walk it we shall.
My apologies for the wait. We've come with forces borrowed from Jiangsha.
Thank you for coming. I sense the bond between has strengthened.
No retreat!
Let's
Time to act.
Concentrate.
Get open. Let's end this.
What come to this?
The enemy officer has been
Things
defeated.
are going my way today. Maybe next time.
Time to end this.
Too cocky.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Well, I still can. We're finally through. Now let's go, so that we may continue on our path. What is this fog? There's something strange about it.
No, I cannot let Liu Bei go after all. Allowing him to pass would be too great a risk.
I've lost sight of the path, and of all my comrades. Is this some sort of magic?
This fog. It reminds me of the Yellow Turbans. You're up!
So you've come, Zuluan. You mean to protect Liu Bei to the very end, it would seem. Then, better ready yourself. You'd best be prepared to fight.
Gotta be quicker than that.
This is our destiny as guardians of peace!
I see it.
That man has even compelled helpless citizens into battle. What can you call this but the worst kind of violence? Despite this, you would protect him? Does your bond with him truly serve as reason enough?
I see you.
What will your path lead to? You are like a puppet, wielding your force for another man's ambitions. How is that different from the Guardians of Peace we hated so much? Better ready. How is Liu Bei any different from the ones who took everything from us? Better ready. Days of anguish and despair has been burned into my mind. The suffering, the agony, the chaos. It is revealed to me my new path. All heroes. Reject the Han, and Cao Cao, and Liu Bei! I have chosen, and I will not allow you, in your ignorance and incessant errors, to stop me! My last... Why don't you remember? How can you? Do you mean to kill me, Zuluan? It would be a fitting end. But as long as these heroes exist in the world, there will always be someone like me who opposes them. You fool. Heroes who dub their greed conviction and endanger the lives of the defenseless. I will never allow them to do as they wish, for it is our duty to achieve peace in this realm. And if you choose to protect Liu Bei, then this is where our paths diverge. However, I do not yet have the strength to defeat Liu Bei. If you won't kill me here, then my only choice is to flee for now. Do you remember? the words Juha uttered before her death, do they still echo in your soul? Live and create the world we dreamed of. If you really think Liu Bei is a true hero that we can trust to bring our dreams to fruition, then do what you must to make me believe it. But the moment he strays from that path and is deemed unworthy of our trust, the Guardians of Peace will bring him to ruin, no matter how long it takes. Never forget that. Farewell, Zuluan. May we one day fly together.
Those who have been long divided must unite, while those who have been long united must diverge. Thus has it always been for empires and their people alike. Guardian of peace, the time has come to part ways. One will champion heroes, striving to bring peace to the world. The other will lurk in the shadows, keeping the heroes true to their path. That is the new way of the Guardians of Peace. And thus shall our purpose be fulfilled. This is the last time I appear before you. Well, it is said that the founders of our order were mystical beings, that they had the faces of children, with hair as white as snow, and eyes as blue as the surface of a frozen lake, and that no number of years could ever age them. Zuluan, you must go now. Let your eyes guide you along your true path, and carry all that has been entrusted to you.
The fog has lifted. It seems that everyone is safe. It is time to move on. We shall head downstream towards Jiangxia. There, we will start again. Together.
So, Liu Bei has gotten away. And we still have a major problem, even if we have control of Jing.
It looks like they're off our tail. Though, given what we've lost, it's hard to feel much joy.
Brother.
Lord Liu Bei, please do not be disheartened. For we've never had the luxury of time to lament. It is true that we've lost much. But, because of that, you have gained something much greater, my lord. Precisely so. We will be attempting to put the Longzong plan into action. If it succeeds, your strength will grow to rival that of Cao Cao and Sun Quan. Cao Cao will most likely continue his southward advance. In order to stop him, we must ally with Wu, who also opposes him.
Hold on. You say we're to ally with Wu, but will they be willing to take on Cao Cao?
Judging from what I hear of Wu, they would be likely to prioritize peace within their borders and among their own people. If they are hesitant to fight and opt to surrender, Would that not cause everything to fall apart?
Indeed. And I do not intend to drag Lord Liu Biao, nor Lord Sun Quan, into a conflict. Even more so if they are unwilling to go to war.
I am fairly certain that, like us, those in Wu do not wish to see Jing fall into Cao Cao's hands. They must know that he will be their enemy eventually. It may take time for them to decide, but I expect they will stand up and fight. But for now, let us reorganize our forces in Jiangxia. That is the first step.
Ah, it's you. Sorry, but Lord Zhuge Liang is away, and he won't be returning for a while. It is just as you guessed. A man named Lu Su from Wu paid him a visit. He had been looking for a way of securing an alliance with our lord in order to oppose Cao Cao. Although Wu is powerful in its own right, Cao Cao's faction far outstrips them, and having us as allies makes little difference. Given the enormous gap in strength, many within Wu are advocating for surrender. However, if Lord Zhuge Liang's bold plan is to succeed, it is essential for the alliance to come to fruition. As such, Lord Zhuge Liang proposed that he himself would act as an envoy to Wu. Right you are. In some form or another, Lord Zhuge Liang shall return with aid from Wu, without fail. Of that I am certain, though I cannot say why. Now we must trust in our strategist, and wait.
I know a couple people who went with Lord Liu Bei. Hard times ahead for them, it seems.
That man who came by recently, Liu Bei, he was an interesting character.
All units, forward! Follow me! Liu Bei! Forward march! Okay! Forward! Can any of you keep up with me?
I see. Would you look at this blowhard?
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Move forward! Let's go. Take this!
This looks like a good spot to stay put.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough. I see it. We mustn't get ahead of the pack. We shall hold off here.
The enemy officer has been
This
defeated.
is the place. All units, commence the charge.
An opening.
The time has come. Everyone, get ready!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Advance! Stick close to me, now! We're joining our allies. Concentrate our forces.
Time to unleash!
An even match. Push harder.
I see it.
Coming right at you!
Nothing good comes from rushing. Shall we make a stop here?
Looking rough.
The enemy officer
There's no way you can
has been
catch
defeated.
up, so don't bother chasing me.
That one would put up a good fight for sure. I'm gonna go see for myself.
how you slice it.
Bear witness to my power. Is that it?
I can't. The enemy officer has been defeated. Tables turn.
Is that it? How amazing! You are a swift
The enemy
and deadly
officer
warrior.
has been defeated.
Let's go.
The road ahead is thorny, but walk if we shall.
I see it. Concentrate.
This appears to be as far as we go.
Oh my God.
Good eye.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough. An opening!
Well, sorry.
I'll leave this area to you.
Witness to my power. No any foe will crumble if caught off guard. Attack!
Looking rough. Tables turn.
Bear witness to my power.
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
Damn, an ambush here? Of all places? We must recover morale.
Take this.
Where did I go wrong? Things don't look too good.
Arms at the ready. It's time to work together.
Retreat would be the best option right now.
Got you. Concentrate. Bear witness to my power.
I have a mission to achieve. As such, I shall withdraw for now.
You won this? We're joining our allies. Concentrate our forces.
Turn the table.
Good eye.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Advance! Stick close to me, now!
Nice. I see it.
Bear witness to my power. All my might.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Pretty much you don't have at this point. The real fight starts now!
Tables turn.
Bear witness to my power. All my
Situation.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Over you here. You've done very well. It's good to know I can count on you.
Take this!
An open. Nothing good comes from Russia. Shall we make a stop here?
Take it!
This territory is ours.
Looking rough. Let's go. A little rash to be charging it alone for the sake of valor. I guess you want to die. I see it.
Now,
take this!
an open. opening! All my might!
Take this! Can't believe this!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
Let's go!
This appears to be as far as we go.
Let's go!
That's an officer? You must be kidding!
Get ready for a bloodbath, you lot! Let's go!
Looking rough.
Bear witness to my power!
The road ahead is thorny. Walk if we shall.
Let's go!
Get victory! Right!
Where did I go wrong? Things don't look too good.
Ready yourselves. Efforts from here on out are absolutely essential.
Thank you for coming. I sense the bond between us. Let's get through this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
That one would put up a good fight for sure. I'm gonna go see for myself.
Pressure on!
Yes, we have the upper hand. Everyone, keep this up.
Looking rough.
Situation.
The enemy officer has been defeated. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
How about this?
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
An open.
Easy.
All my might.
Infested.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Got this. Looking rough.
I see it. Open it. All my might. Counterattack. The enemy officer.
Neither my heart nor my spear have broken.
Let's go.
We shall meet again.
Turn the table. At it. You're good.
Good eye.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
Now, ends here. Concentrate. Get it. I can't.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
Whoa. Let's go.
Looking rough. Looking rough.
Coming at you! An opening! I see it! Time to act! Oh my God! Good eye!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
An opening!
Time's right. Go.
No matter how you slice it. Take this!
Looking rough.
Tables turn.
Time to act. Bear witness to my power. I see it. All my might.
Looking rough.
If you would.
Time to act. Bear witness to my power. Now. All my might.
Fight!
Let's get serious. An opening. Whoa, gotta be quicker than that. Whoa. Time to act.
The enemy officer
I know now how
has been
ill-prepared
defeated.
I was. I will retreat.
Easy peasy. Turn the tables. An opening. Concentrate. I've been waiting for this. Failure.
The enemy officer proved I'm a true warrior of the Three Kingdoms.
Where did I go wrong? Things don't look too good.
The road ahead is thorny. We're walking in the shadows.
Bear witness to my power. All my might. Concentrate.
Thank you for coming. I sense the bond between has strengthened. To have you here is all I need. I am counting on you, now and beyond.
Gotta be quicker.
Looking rough.
I see you. I'm sorry.
I'm going to withdraw.
Bear witness to my power. Time to end this. The enemy officer has been defeated.
I must retreat.
Time for a good old fight. Get ready.
All my might.
Looking rough.
No problem.
Whoa. That's the concentrate.
How about this? How about this?
An opening with all my might. Now, I will break it open this. An opening. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Let's give it to them. Take this.
An opening. All my might. You'll go no further.
Looking rough.
I see it. Time to act.
Let's give it to them.
I see it. An opening. All my might. I see it. Bear witness to my power. You'll go no
Concentrate.
Let's end this.
I can go no further.
Take it. The enemy officer has been defeated. Take this.
This victory belongs to all of us.
That it.
They say Lord Liu Bei is risking it all in this next battle. He'll win. I just know it.
I see it.
opening! Get it! How could I?
The enemy officer has been defeated. Tables turned. Bear witness to my power. Get it!
Pitiful situation.
The enemy officer has been defeated. Concentrate. An opening. All my might. An opening. Whoa. An opening. An opening. Take this. Take that. An oversee you. Bear witness to my power. That it. I can't believe the enemy officer has been defeated.
protect my family when the bad guys...
An expeditious advance is essential to our cause. Onward, everyone! We march at once!
An opening! Looking rough.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Obliterate you!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Obliterate you!
Time to attack! With all my might! The enemy officer has been defeated.
Sacred Bird, protect us!
Good eye! The enemy officer has been defeated. This'll do.
Wait!
An opening! With all my might! I will break you! Take this!
Looking rough.
Nice. Time to act. All my might. The enemy officer has been defeated.
You sure know how to fight. Descends here! Descends here!
Looking rough.
All my might! Descends here! An opening!
The enemy officer has been defeated. The enemy officer has been defeated.
This'll do.
Now!
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Perfect timing. I was looking for an opportunity to test my new tactics.
All my might. Invested. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Looking rough.
Time to act. Sacred Bird protect us. Whoa. Descends here! That it!
This'll do.
Descends here! With all my might! Descends here!
Even mentor. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Let's go. Let's go.
Whoa.
I challenge you to battle. Prepare yourself.
Looking rough.
It's here!
This'll do. Sacred Bird protect us.
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Lord Zheng Liao is a perfect warrior.
Advance! All of you, follow me! Let's march!
This location is too valuable to be taken. Fortify our defenses, comrades!
I see it. The enemy officer has been defeated. This territory is ours. Looking rough. Let's go. Looking rough.
Can't believe
the enemy officer has been defeated. This territory is ours.
pace and push on forward!
Turn the table up!
You are a true warrior of the Three Kingdoms!
The enemy officer has been defeated. We go. I see it. The enemy officer has been defeated. The enemy officer has been defeated.
Comrades! The time has come to show the results of our training! That one is the key to turning the tide. Begin pursuit. Immediately!
Let's get serious.
Situation.
The enemy officer has been defeated. Looking rough. The enemy officer has been defeated.
You are a true warrior of the Three Kingdoms.
Looking rough. Easy. I see it. Infested. The enemy officer has been defeated. The enemy officer has been defeated. The moment has come.
Our enemies fell to my incredible might! I'm making my way up! I challenge you to battle. Prepare yourself! All my might!
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Send me here!
Tables clear.
Our enemies fell to my incredible might! Time to
The enemy officer has been defeated. An opening. Let's end this.
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated. This territory is ours. Let's go.
I do not care who rules this place. This is my home, and I will live out my years right here.
Hard to stay motivated as tired as we are. I'm just about at the end of my rope. But we won't give up so long as Lord Shaho Dun gives us hope.
So you're saying Cao Cao will soon seize the reins and reign?
I'm surprised to hear that the young ones don't know them.
I saw a shop changing their sign that read Lord Yuan Shao approved to Lord Cao Cao.
To be able to live without worry.
Let's go. Can't believe this. The enemy officer has been defeated. Turn the table.
Pitiful situation.
The enemy officer has been defeated. Let's go.
I challenge you to battle. Prepare yourselves.
I see it. With all my might. Looking rough. An opening. Nice. Take this. I see it. Quicker.
Can't believe this.
The enemy officer has been defeated.
Let's put money on it.
Hard to stay motivated as tired as we are. I'm just about at the end of my rope. But we won't give up so long as Lord...
Another war?
Lord Zheng Liao is a